You're listening to the Served Up Show, a podcast that features inspiring beverage professionals and topic experts that share their passions through meaningful content. Your hostesses, Bridget Albert, is best known as the Market Fresh mixologist, an industry mentor with over 25 years of experience. And I'm Julie Milroy, best known for my passion for leading change and helping others grow in their careers. Grab a cocktail and sit back. Let's learn how we can make a positive impact in our industry.
Hey y'all, it's Bridget here. Today we're honored to welcome Emma Sleight, the head of content for North America's 50 Best Bars. With her finger on the pulse of the cocktail scene, Emma brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise to the table. Her role at the helm of content for such a prestigious platform showcases her deep understanding of the bar industry and her passion for storytelling. Tune in as Emma discusses her journey, her vision for the future of the industry, and the impact of North America's 50 Best Bars on the global cocktail community scale. The world's 50 Best Bars 2024 results were announced April 23rd, 2024. To learn more, go to www.theworlds50best.com. Get ready to be captivated by Emma's dedication to celebrating excellence and creativity in the bar world. So sit back, relax, grab yourself your favorite cocktail, and enjoy the show. Emma, welcome to Served Up. It's really a pleasure to have you on the show.
Honestly, thank you so much for having me, Bridget. It's an absolute pleasure to meet you.
For sure. Can you tell our listeners a bit about your background and your journey and what you're currently doing today?
I absolutely can. God, how far back do people go on your podcast? Well,
we usually start at childhood. No, we can start off wherever you'd like.
My earliest memory is, no. So I joined 50 Best last year as their head of content across the world's best hotels and the world's best bars portfolio. But I've been a journalist, a blogger, an editor, recipe developer, one-time opera and restaurant reviewer, and I've worked as a content consultant. And I was the head of food and drink content at an iconic British brand called Marks and Spencer. I don't know if you're familiar with M&S, Bridget. It's a bit of an institution in the UK. Yeah, and
absolutely, yes.
So I was there for 8 years, sort of leading their photography and their social media and their editorial. And that's where I did my training as a sommelier as well. But I guess bars and spirits came a bit later for me. So I've always been on the perpetual hunt for the world's best martini is basically how I describe my bar journey and how it started. But I've always loved bars and pubs. There's a pretty big pub culture in the UK, which my town where I grew up as a kid, I think it had a brewery in it. I think there were more pubs than there were shops. And both sides, I think my mum's granddad was a publican in Wellow in Somerset, and on the other side, my dad's parents, they were both home brewers, so there was always some dodgy beer and wine brewing and bubbling away, possibly on the verge of explosion somewhere in the house, I remember. I think I've always just loved bars. So I remember sitting in this bar in Lille, and my aunt ordered me a pastis just because I was absolutely in awe of this French woman sitting in a bar in the middle of the day, afternoon, enjoying what I thought looked like the most sophisticated, delicious cocktail in the world. And I was hooked from that moment. I'm not sure my love affair with pastiche lasted long after that, but yes, it sort of started young and has developed ever since.
That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. You really have had quite a journey that's so unique from others that are within this space. What excites you about the beverage industry today?
Do you know what? It's not a new thing, but I just think it's the people that work in the industry. They are so passionate and dedicated and excited to work in that industry. And I particularly noticed that when I joined 50 Best. The amount of people you speak to on a daily basis who are so excited to tell you about what they've been doing and what they've discovered and how they've been working on a new idea or a new concept or a new innovative way of doing something in the drinks industry. I just think there's never been a more exciting time to be talking about those innovations and how people are constantly striving to be the best, do the best, but also just still loving what they're doing. And I find that kind of passion is really contagious. So I'm always that annoying person. I think the best seat in a bar is always at the bar on a stool, so you can sort of talk to the bartender. I'm that person who's always asking them, what are you doing with that? What ingredient's that? Where did you make that? Where's that from? And I just love the fact that now it's become a less niche subject and more people are asking those questions and more people care about that stuff. So it's brilliant.
Oh my gosh, I agree with you 1,000%. I really do. Can you give our listeners kind of an overview of what the world's 50 best bars is? How does the program work? How did it come to be? And why is it relevant to the beverage industry?
Sure, some big questions there, but I'll try and tackle them one by one for you. So, I mean, the 50 Best brand is the leading authority in global gastronomy and the international drinks scene. So it's all about showcasing worldwide trends, highlighting restaurants and bars from every corner of the world. So it's been around for over 20 years, and it's sort of providing guidance through lists and events and inspiring people to travel and to discover more, essentially. It also is there to support unveiling up-and-coming chefs and bartenders, exploring the trends that we talked about, and also highlighting the subtleties and nuances of various ways of doing everything around the world. So North America's 50 best bars hasn't been around for a huge amount of time, actually. It was only launched in 2022. So it's a relatively new ranking, but a really important one. And it was created really to celebrate the very best of the region's drinks industry and to shine a very well-deserved spotlight on North America as a first-class cocktail destination. So it's kind of been born as a reflection of the talent and innovation that's coming out of the North American drinks industry. So, and I think that's really reflective in actually last year's winner. So Double Chicken Please as last year's number one spot is an excellent example of that. I mean, I don't know if a bar could go much further in demonstrating innovation and excitement than offering drinkable meals in a glass. But yeah.
And how does, for our listeners that might be bar owners, right? Or just bar curious, let's say, and really want to see their, the bar, their local watering hole, let's say, or the bar owner itself would love to see their bar on this list. What does that process look like?
I'm really glad you asked, because it's a really common question. Is so how do you get on the list? There's a really simple answer and there's a longer answer. So I'll do you both. The simple answer is no bar can nominate themselves to be on the list. So there's no pay to play to be on the 50 best ranking list. So the annual lists, basically they all work through voting. So they're based on the votes of an academy, which is made up of 270 gender-balanced, anonymous industry experts. And the splits are actually quite specific. So we're aiming for 50% bartenders and bar owners. 25% of those people voting will be from the media. And the remaining 25% is made up of what we call well-traveled cocktail connoisseurs who span the region across USA, Canada, Mexico, and the Caribbean. So voting really happens in 7 regions. So USA Northeast, USA Midwest, USA West, USA South, Canada East, Canada West, and Mexico and the Caribbean. And so those voters are spread across all of those regions. And as I said, they're anonymous, but the people who aren't anonymous are our academy chairs. So each region has its own academy chair, and it's the academy chair's job to source those voters and to ensure that they're a balanced selection of voters who are going to offer a really diverse, credible option of voting.
That makes perfect sense. And it really does make it very fair.
It's funny, isn't it? Because it comes down to best. Best is a really interesting word, because what is best? Everyone's definition of what best means is completely different. And that's exactly the same for every individual voter. You could have a voter who's obsessed with the service and only the service in a bar and how they're treated. You could have another voter who's just looking at how diverse the ingredients are on the menu, or another voter who's looking at the sustainability credentials of a bar. So it all kind of has to come together into this amalgamation of a really sort of definitive list that takes into consideration those diverse views and gives you a well-rounded overall opinion from that sector.
That's really, really amazing. And I love how you talked about that uniqueness on how we all define what best is, right? For some of it, it's hospitality. Like, are you treated kindly? Are you served in a timely manner as well? You know, are you waiting 15 minutes? And I don't care what care it took to make that drink. You know what I mean? So I love that. And so that really gives, I think, the winner a lot of credibility because of what's behind the competition.
Yeah, I believe so. And I'd hope everyone would believe so as well. I mean, there are a lot of rules that are attached to everything we do. There have to be to ensure the credibility of the vote. So that's why anonymity is important. That's why you have to have visited the bar you're voting for in a specific amount of time. We can't vote for guest shifts or pop-ups. You can't vote for anything you own, or despite the fact that a lot of the voters are bartenders and bar owners, they're not allowed to vote for their own bars or any bars that they have a vested interest in, or any PRs or people whose job is promoting those bars. So we're very sort of strict about those rules because we have to be. So it's sort of, I love the idea that bars don't have to fit certain criterion to be considered for the list. It just comes down to that personal selection. And the one thing I'm really keen about that 50 Best does as well is we always ensure that at least 25% of voters each year are new. So to kind of get that constant innovation, those new voices coming in, those new sectors, those new people to sort of really identify what they think is interesting and best in their opinion.
Oh, that's so amazing. How are your winners and nominees celebrated?
Oh my goodness. Well, they are celebrated the celebrations never stop, as we know, at one event. But so the winners never know they've won. So it's all a surprise for people. So we do it with a big event that spans 3 days in a city in North America. And we have a bartender's feast when they arrive, which is guest bartenders shaking up signature cocktails. It's delicious food from restaurants and hotels that we're staying at. And then the second night, once you've recovered from that, then we have the main event. So then we have the award ceremony, which is where we count down from 50 to 1, and everyone there on the night has no idea where they are in the ranking. So it's a real sort of celebration of everyone in the community. And then we finish with a little goodbye drinks and celebration on the final day. So it's a real sort of program of celebrations. And then after that, then I guess all the publicity starts, and then there's individual celebrations that happen throughout the entire year.
Can you talk about what the energy is like in that room when you are about to announce the winners?
I'd say it's pretty tense, but also pretty electric. There's something quite special about bartenders and the bartending community. They're really supportive of each other. They genuinely care about each other, and they know each other. I think that's something that is really important to 50 Best as well. It's not just about the winning. I mean, there's an obvious impact to winning that number one spot or being in the ranking in the 50s. Obviously, that's a wonderful thing to have. But beyond that, it's really about creating that community. So I think lots of people who've come to the awards have created lifelong friendships from meeting people from around the world and from different bar regions that they might never have really connected with otherwise. So it's really about the celebration of the hospitality industry. And I think you might agree with me, no one really celebrates like a mixologist or a bartender. They are pretty good at celebrating. So yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. Emma, absolutely.
I mean, it's known to throw a pretty good party. So yeah, well, we'd be pretty terrible if we couldn't throw a decent party with a room full of bartenders. But, yeah.
You know, I think what's really cool about your program is that you really have your finger on the pulse of innovation as well. You kind of get to see like what's next, what's coming. Do you have any insights that you can share with our listeners?
I think just looking at the last year's list and what that kind of showed us with innovation, I think there's, as I said, around sort of edible, drinkable food as cocktails. I've seen that a lot across a lot of menus over the past year. I think savory cocktails are really interesting right now. I had a very interesting martini the other day that was made with the tomato water from a panzanella salad. So kind of bringing in that kind of savory element into food and from food into drinks. I think people are becoming more aware about things like sustainability as well. So that's why I'm so delighted. We also have a roster of special awards. So one of those is the Kettle One Sustainable Bar Award. So that's not voted for. So that's the only one that bars can nominate themselves for. And that's independently assessed by the Sustainable Restaurant Association. So they go through how they understand different sustainability criteria and how they assess how a bar is meeting that criteria. So I think that's a really important award to sort of talk about because it's such a big focus. And I think a lot of bars might not even know that what they're doing is sustainable. So it's a real way of highlighting actually what you're doing here is sustainable practice. So last year's winner was Yacht Club in Denver. So Mary Allison Wright and McLean Hedges. So it's not been around for too long. It's launched in 2021. But even behind the bar, doing things like they use their fruit peels and their offcuts. So instead of discarding them, they reuse them and they ferment them and use them in a variety of styles through their cocktail list. So other bars might be doing that as well, but it's sort of important to say this is considered a sustainable practice. Tell us more about what you're doing and then help us understand how you're working towards that future. So really interesting.
I love that. I love that because I think sustainability is such a hot topic right now. And
I agree.
So many restaurants and bars are looking at how they can be more sustainable. And, if you do the math or, you look at the data, sustainability is also very cost effective. And so it's a smart business practice, right?
Yeah, I think so. And I think otherwise, I mean, just even where we're going is an exciting destination. So the award's being held in San Miguel de Allende. So it's the second year that we've been in San Miguel de Allende, but it's really sort of not a place that perhaps everyone in the world might have been super, super familiar with. It's not as famous as Mexico City, let's say, but that's something we're always trying to do is look at those slightly less traveled, maybe less visited, putting a spotlight on those regional drinks industries and those regional gastronomy centers and really sort of seeing how we can encourage people to explore and travel more. So, but yeah, Mexico is really it's really sort of cemented itself as a leading region for cocktails, 100%. I mean, the amount of mezcal I've seen on people's menus over the past year is really great.
I think that that's wonderful. So do you feel like, in your professional opinion, do you think that the consumer is really driving this as far as wanting to see, unique flavors on the menu? And if you think so, why?
I mean, ultimately, we're all consumers, aren't we? That's the thing. I mean, even a fellow bartender is still a consumer. They're still traveling, experiencing, tasting other people's drinks and concoctions in bars. It's a really interesting definition. I think ultimately people are potentially more discerning now, I think. I mean, I can only speak from my personal space. I'm certainly a more discerning drinker than I was when I first. I mean, I'll tell you something I drank at university, which will probably make you cringe, but there was something called a stiffen. So it was basically 5 shots of whatever spirit was behind the bar, and it had a little neon soda chaser just topped up to the top. So, and I used to think that was delicious, and maybe it is. I should try it again and see if it's still as tasty as I remember it. But I definitely think people are driving that more discerning, choiceful, thoughtful process behind where they go. I mean, it's an investment to go out and have a couple of cocktails on a night out. It's not a huge investment, but it's an investment of people's time and people's money. And I think they're really sort of making those choices about where they want to go, what they want to try. And there's always going to be a difference in people who are always looking for what they want classically, their comfort drinks, and then someone who's always going to be trying, maybe I want something different tonight. But I think the good thing about the list from a consumer perspective is a list they can follow. And critique if they like, because as it comes down to, it's all subjective about what you may or may not consider to be the best. But at least it'll help them to encourage them to explore more, try more, and travel further.
I absolutely agree with you. And I think, one of the things that came out of COVID that was definitely a positive is that there are so many cocktail enthusiasts because so many folks were making cocktails at home and really exploring ingredients, right? And picking up those cocktails to go to support their local bars. And now, it's really fun to see how the consumer's palate has shifted a little bit. I believe that they do expect more when they go out to spend their dollars. And so to be given a list, almost like a scavenger hunt, right? Where they can just go out and experience just amazing cocktails, amazing hospitality. What a gift you are giving to the consumer.
So come on, did you shake up anything at home during that time? What was your
every
go-to?
Day?
Every day?
No, not every day, but often during the week. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Didn't you? Of course.
Yes. I mean, I wasn't getting that martini elsewhere. I had to resort to drastic measures. Yeah, I think, hit or miss for me. I wouldn't say I have the skills of a mixologist, but that's why I appreciate the work that goes into doing a menu and an exceptional drink being made in front of you with all the care and love in the world is quite a beautiful thing, really.
Yeah, I agree. I think we were all home tenders at that time, right?
I'll say that. I could do it under duress, but I wouldn't say it. I wouldn't say I don't put it on my CV. Put it like that.
Can you talk to what the program season is? Like, what do the dates run? Can you talk about, when you reveal the winners? Like, what are those dates? What are those times that our listeners should be on the lookout for?
So we have a whole program of events at 50 Best. So there are 8 big events through the year, but we don't announce the location and the date until sort of a few months before as well. It's all quite hush-hush, actually. But North America's 50 Best Bars for 2024 has been announced. So we will be in San Miguel de Allende in April this year. So the award ceremony is on Tuesday, April the 23rd. So we are very aware that not everyone can join us in Mexico on the 23rd. So that is why we live stream all of our events through the 50 Best Facebook and YouTube channels. So if you want to watch it happening live and you want to see who has made it into the 1 to 50 list, all you have to do is to log on as well. And the chat section is open and usually pretty buzzing with everyone chatting about who they think is going to make it into the ranking. So we encourage everyone to please join in the live stream and please, of course, have a cocktail to hand while you're doing it. Otherwise, it would just seem wrong, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be wrong. I think that that's so exciting that you open it up to everyone. So listeners, if you are a bar professional or if you are a cocktail enthusiast or just cocktail curious, what a fun way to celebrate those who are doing a damn good job in the hospitality industry, right? It's almost like the Oscars are the Grammys of
I love that
hospitality.
You do get handed a sash and a cocktail shaker as well as your plaque as well. So we'll sort of treat the cocktail shaker like it is that Oscar statuette. It'll be, we'll sort of say that it's exactly the same and then mean just as much, I hope.
Emma, what's your favorite cocktail?
Oh, that's a question. So I think my go-to has always been a dirty martini with olives.
Really?
Yeah, I loved it. I just really enjoy a drink that you can sip. And I think I had to work pretty hard to really like it. So I must have been dedicated to wanting to like a martini. But now I'd say that's my go-to drink. But I've now started to enjoy it a bit wetter, actually, with a bit more vermouth. So my tastes are still changing. But I always love gimlets. I love a whiskey sour. I love a pisco sour. I like sort of those savory sour elements to my drinks. But I'm also a big fan of mezcal. That smoky, sweet, kind of rounded aftertaste. I'm really, really enjoying mezcal at the moment. What about you?
Mezcal. I love mezcal. Look, we're good friends. Mezcal and me, very good friends. It makes me want to dance. It makes me happy. I love it. And I love that it's just, a sipper. I don't always adore it in a cocktail as much as I do just to maybe sip on it.
Just really appreciating it for what the drink is. It's one of those drinks that really it gives you a sense of place when you drink it. You're reminded of where it's come from. It feels like it's come from the earth. It feels like it's come from
Yes.
a warm country. It's one of those
Yes.
brilliantly evocative drinks for me. I love it.
Absolutely. It definitely has a soul.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm really into Amaro at the moment as well.
Oh, Amaris are so good.
The
Yeah.
Maris are amazing. Yeah. So that's sort of what I'm drinking at the moment. But I meant to say something as well. So obviously our award ceremony isn't until the 23rd, but we do have a little pockets of excitement beforehand as well. So we pre-announce 2 awards. So there's 2 awards that get pre-announced ahead of the 23rd. Everything else is announced live on the night. But these 2 awards actually kind of tap into what we were talking about earlier around hospitality and service industry and community as well. So the first one is the Michter's Art of Hospitality Award. So that's through the voting, we recognise a bar that's selected by members of the Bars Academy. And so they're asked to name a bar where they received their single best hospitality experience during the voting period. So really sort of tapping into what is hospitality to them. So last year, Botanist Bar won in Vancouver. So that was a real testament to Grant and Jeff and their living room hospitality ethos, which I really like, that kind of idea of our bar is your home. So they were last year's recipient as well. So we'll be announcing the new winner for 2024 on the 19th of March. Which is very soon.
That is so exciting. So we have something to look forward to, folks. So we'll have to definitely stay tuned to see who we'll be celebrating.
Yeah, and we have another one as well. So talking about communities and how close the bartending industry is to each other and how much they celebrate and support each other. We also have the Altos Bartenders Bartender Award. So that is voted on by the bars in the 1 to 50 list, and they select a bartender who they believe has done more to further the craft of bartending, who's really supporting the bar sector's ongoing evolution and really supporting bartenders in their community. So they get to name an individual that will win that award. So that gets announced very soon as well.
That's incredible, because that's a very important award, because especially if it's peer to peer. So that's really a beautiful thing.
It's our only peer-to-peer voted for award. So it's really special. Definitely.
How exciting. I can't wait to see, who comes out on top. It's wonderful.
So we actually have something new and exciting for North America's 50 Best Bars 2024. So it was an award that we launched at the World Bars, but it's now coming to North America for the first time. And it's the Barrackston Best Bar Design Award. So it really celebrates what we were talking about earlier, that bars aren't just always about what's served behind the bar or the people in front of the bar. It's actually the entire atmosphere. So it's an acknowledgement of the work and time that goes into creating an incredible bar space. So yeah, really excited to see who takes that home on the 23rd of April.
I do want to talk a little bit about you as an individual, and how you contribute to the program each and every day. Can you give our listeners kind of a peek behind the scenes on what your day-to-day looks like?
Oh my goodness, my day-to-day is quite varied, I must admit. So primarily my role is to support and facilitate this voting process. So it's important to know I don't actually vote. So I can't have an opinion on this, and rightly so. I am Switzerland when it comes to the vote. So I'm there to oversee and manage it. So that's why I get to be front-facing and speak to people, which is so important. But yeah, so we manage a small, tight-knit team. So my team creates content. So we go to all of the bars around the world and we work with them to create content. We use film crews on the ground in every respective region and city, working with them to create content inside bars. We do films around people in bars, icons of bars, bar menus, things like that. So it's producing an awful lot of content. And then we also produce a lot of editorial for the online website as well. So really diving into stories in more detail. So destination guides to places that we're going, sort of travel guides, etc., but also really highlighting trends and innovations within the different sectors and industries. And then my role is also obviously to work with our wonderful PR team and our PR teams around the world to talk about the awards essentially and get people really excited about them. So, and then of course there's quite, a little bit of work that goes on in the background ahead of these big international events that is quite labor intensive, but absolutely worth it when you see how much it means to everyone who attends and that ultimate celebration point. So yeah, pretty varied, I'd say.
Yeah. And what an incredible gig that you have. Can you give some, I mean, it really is. It's multifaceted. It's exciting. Of course, it's hard work. It's always hard work when you produce something very special at the end of it, right?
I mean, I do. It sounds really trite, but genuinely, it's kind of a pinch yourself moment for me. I do think what a wonderful place to work and what a wonderful industry to be surrounded by. And if it ever feels admin heavy or you get exhausted, everyone gets exhausted in their day to day, you're just kind of reminded with, I get to go and chat to people who are doing incredible things in an incredible industry. That's not a bad gig, is it? So no, I'm very lucky and I'm very aware of it.
Oh my goodness. Well, I am so excited for you and for the program. And I can't wait to see, what's going to come out this year on top. It is such an exciting time, as you said, to be in the beverage industry. It is a very exciting time. Can you let our listeners know where they can find you, where they can find the program to follow along?
Absolutely, I can. So you can find me if you want to follow me, but I don't know how interesting I am. I would rather suggest you follow the rather interesting accounts of our amazing bartending community and 50 Best. But I am on Instagram at Edible Women. So it's an interesting title, but it's a Margaret Atwood reference. I've had it since I was a food blogger, and you know what? I'm sticking with it. And then on our other accounts, you can find us on Instagram at 50 Best Bars or at The World's 50 Best or 50 Best Discovery or 50 Best _ hotels as well. And you can find us on Facebook. So please do follow us along. And also, if you go to our website, you can sign up for our newsletter. So that's written by sometimes me, sometimes my colleagues, the fabulous William Drew, who heads up all of the content for restaurants around the world. So you can get the latest ideas, innovations, additions to the lists, updates, video content. You can get it all into your inbox. So I do really recommend you go sign up and please give us a follow, and then you can come and see even more from 50 Best and all the work we do with these incredible people.
Well, Emma, I want to wish you just an incredible 2024. Will you come back on Served Up after the winners are announced to give our listeners an update?
Absolutely. I would love to do that, because then the list is out there and we've got a whole new thing to talk about for 2024. I would love to do that.
Would love to have that follow up from you. Thank you so much for being on Served Up today. What an exciting time. I want to wish you some great health and a lot of peace, Emma. Thank you for being on our show.
Thank you so much for having me, Bridget. It's been a joy.
Thanks for listening. Served Up is brought to you by Southern Glazers Wine and Spirits. Produced by Zunu.online. Music by We Kill the Lion can be found on Spotify. Make sure to subscribe to be notified of future Served Up episodes. Cheers!